Hey mama, welcome back to Business, Babies, and Burnout, the unfiltered podcast for mamas building businesses without burning out. I'm Cece, a mama, digital business mentor, and burnout survivor. Let's talk about motivation, because if you've ever said, I just need to get motivated again, I don't know what's wrong with me lately. I used to be so driven. Where did that go? This episode is for you. And I want to say this up front because it's important. If motivation feels inconsistent or completely missing right now, it does not mean you're lazy, broken, or doing something wrong. It usually means your life has changed and no one taught you how to adjust. Here's the biggest lie about motivation. We're taught that motivation is something you either have or don't have. That some people are just motivated and others struggle. But that's not how motivation actually works. Motivation is not a personality trait. It's not a moral quality. And it's definitely not something you can force. Motivation is a response, not a starting point. And for moms, the conditions that create motivation often disappear because motivation requires energy, safety, capacity, a sense of progress, and motherhood changes all four. Here's why motivation feels so hard after becoming a mom. Before kids, motivation was often fueled by urgency or pressure, deadlines, bosses, external accountability, clear boundaries between work and rest. Motherhood removes most of that structure. There is no off. There is no clean start or finish. There is no guaranteed rest before tomorrow. And yet, we expect ourselves to feel just as motivated as we did before. That's an impossible comparison. So when motivation drops, moms don't say, my environment changed. They say, what's wrong with me? And that question alone creates guilt, which makes motivation even harder. Here's the truth I want you to hear clearly. Motivation is not your problem. The problem is that you're trying to build habits, routines, or a business inside a life that no longer supports how motivation used to show up. You're waiting to feel motivated before you act. But motivation doesn't come first anymore, not in this season. So, what actually creates motivation? Motivation is created by evidence, not intention. Evidence that your effort matters. You're not overextending yourself. Progress is possible without burnout. That means motivation grows after action, not before. But only when the action fits your capacity, feels safe, is repeatable. This is why just try harder never works long term. Here's the shift. Go from motivation to momentum. Instead of asking, how do I get motivated? I want you to start asking, how do I create momentum? Momentum is quieter, it's less emotional, and it's far more reliable. Momentum comes from small wins, clear boundaries, action you can complete even on low energy days. Motivation rides on top of momentum, not the other way around. Here's why big goals kill motivation. This is where so many well-meaning January plans fall apart. You set a big goal, big health goal, big income goal, big life reset, but your daily life can't support the actions required to reach it yet. So every day you fall short, your motivation drops. Not because you failed, but because your goal didn't match your capacity. Big goals without supportive systems don't inspire. They exhaust. So what works? Instead, action-based commitments. Instead of chasing motivation, build action-based commitments. These are actions you can complete regardless of how you feel. For example, I'll work on my business for 20 focused minutes during nap time. I'll move my body 3 times this week, even if it's short. I'll protect one boundary that gives me energy back. These actions create proof, and proof rebuilds trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your ability to follow through. Trust that progress doesn't require burnout. That trust is what motivation grows from. Here's a personal truth about motivation. I want to share this honestly. Last year, there were many days where motivation was non-existent for me. Not because I didn't care, not because I wasn't committed, but because my life required something different from me. Between becoming a mom, recovering physically, and navigating loss, my nervous system was not in a place to respond to pressure. And that's something we don't talk about enough. Burnout doesn't just affect energy, it affects drive. If your body doesn't feel safe, motivation shuts down. That's not weakness, that's biology. Motivation requires safety. This part matters. Motivation thrives when you're not constantly overwhelmed. You're not always behind. You're not punishing yourself for resting. If you're trying to motivate yourself through guilt, pressure, or comparison, you're working against your nervous system, and it will always win. This is why so many moms feel stuck. They're trying to force motivation in a season that requires compassion and structure, not intensity. So let's redefine motivation for the season of life. Motivation is not excitement. It's not hype. It's not discipline. Motivation is willingness. A willingness to take the next small step. Adjust instead of quit. Build slowly without self-betrayal. That kind of motivation is quiet, but it lasts. So, what to do when motivation is low? When motivation feels low, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Instead, ask, "Is this action too big for my capacity? Am I expecting too much from myself right now? Do I need support? Not more effort?" Often, motivation returns once the pressure lifts. A simple reframe to carry this week. Here's a mindset shift you can try immediately. Instead of saying, "I need to get motivated," try saying, "I need to make this easier to start." Easier to start, easier to repeat, easier to sustain. That's how the momentum is built in real life. If you want something practical without overwhelm, try this for the next week. Each day, ask, "What is the smallest action I can take that still moves me forward?" Not the best action, not the most impressive action. The smallest one you'll actually do. That's enough. If motivation feels different now, it's not because you've changed for the worse. It's because your life has changed. And learning how to work with that instead of against it is how you build something that lasts. If you need support creating momentum without burnout and building habits that actually fit your life right now, there's a resource waiting for you inside the Balanced Mom Boss Hub. And if you love this episode, send it to a mama who needs to hear this. Talk soon, mama.